go through the data collection process, and I did this the other day, but some of you weren't here, and because it was an all day, it went quick, and more importantly, I didn't do this for the fourth period class, so I want to get a video so that if there was anybody absent from there, they can go back and see this information. So I'm going to step through this relatively quickly. Here are the things to think about with your Mung bean data collection. You don't need to write this down. This will be just, you'll remember, and you'll be able to see it up here. So the first thing is, especially today when you go to the spreadsheet, you'll see it's expanded. The fourth period students have put their data from today in, so we're up to like several hundred, like 700 rows. So in order to make your data entry really quick and effortless without other people accidentally editing the spreadsheet and without all the slowdowns they get when a bunch of people are on it, make a new spreadsheet. So go to once you've opened our shared document, go to the file menu and just say new spreadsheet. And then to know where you're going to type your information, just copy and paste. So copy these headings, and that's all you need. Just copy these headings and paste them into the spreadsheet that you just made. And then you're not going to have to enter anything into columns D and E because that was the data that you got on Monday. So all of the data that you entered today, all the data goes into F and G. And so this is you're going to be your working spreadsheet. This is what you're going to use in order in order to get your data entered. So here's how you do it. It's going to be, let me just walk you through it. It's pretty straightforward. First of all, your group initials are always going to be the same. So if I worked with Bugs Bunny and Captain Kangaroo, I'm just going to put DBBBKC in there, and then this is period 6, and that's going to be the same for all of my treatments. And so let me make this just a little bit bigger. So my row 1 has my headings in it. So if I started here and I had 10 treatments, then I would go from 1 to 10, but I'm going from 2, so I'm going to go from 2 to 11. 2 to 11 will be one of my treatments, and then 12 to 21 will be the second, and then 22 to 31 will be the third. So I'm going to go from row 2 all the way to 31, and I'm going to put the same initials and period in all of those because it's the same information. And to do that, you put your mouse over this little blue dot. So highlight the information in group initials and period. Put your mouse over the little blue dot, and then drag down and until you get to 31. And then let go, and it fills in all of those. That's called a fill down. And so it just puts all that information in there, and then you don't have to type it. You should have 3 treatments. Some of you only had 2, but most of you had 3. And let's say that your treatments were food coloring. So let's say that, so one of mine, I didn't put any food coloring. There would be 10 of those. So that's going to take me from 2 to 11. So I'm going to fill down from 2 to 11. Now I have my 10 nuns. And then let's say I used blue food coloring in 10 of them. So I'm going to fill down from 12 to 21. And then let's say I used green food coloring in the rest. So I'm going to fill down from 22 to 31. So now my rows, I've got all my column A, B, and C are done for all the data that I'm going to enter. And now I'm going to do the actual data collection. So that is, that has to do with did the seed or did the bean germinate today, and how long is that radical length, that little root part, all right? So how I would recommend doing this, most of you worked in groups of 3. So most of you are going to have 3 people. The fastest typer, the best computer person, should be typing the data in. The other 2 should be making the measurements. So let's say it's Yahir and Victoria and me, and I'm the fast typer, so I'm typing. So what we'll do is Victoria's just going to call it out. Nun We're going to do the nones first, because we'll do all these treatments together. Victoria says, yes, it germinated. The radical length is 1.62. And then while she's reloading to make another measurement, Yahir calls out, no, it didn't. One of his beans didn't germinate. And then Victoria says no. And then Yahir says yes, and the radical length was 1.51. And if you do it that way, it's going to go pretty quickly. Making the measurement today will take a little bit longer because we don't have to be non-destructive. Everything's going in the trash when we're done. So those radicals, those little rootlet things that are coming out, instead of just kind of estimating or kind of waving a ruler at it and guessing, you can actually take it and kind of straighten it out against the ruler and get a real measurement. This data doesn't matter, but it's always fun to get good data. Like, it's kind of fun. Data collection is like, there's something cathartic about it. Getting good data is very satisfying. So try to get good data. It shouldn't take you that long, but if you have a ruler and you have a little curved piece of radical and you hold them up next to each other and 1.7, that's a reasonable amount of time to measure one of those radicals. And you'll do that until you've gotten all your data. And then you're going to copy the data from here and paste it into the main spreadsheet. And to do that, if you just click if you set it up the way that I did, just click on A2 and then scroll down to row 31 and then press Shift and click on G31. Then it'll highlight all of your data, and then you can copy and go into the main spreadsheet. And I'll do this so you see what it looks like when I copy it in, but I'll delete it because this isn't real data. So you just click in the first blank row, and then look carefully, because if you've clicked here and somebody else has clicked there as well, that means there's a couple of you about to do a paste. And if you do it at the same time, I don't know how smart Sheets is about that. It might get weird. So what I would do is kind of coordinate. So if you see that like Joe's group is about to enter their data, just like catch eyes with them and say you go first or whatever, so that you do one at a time. But as soon as you paste the data in, it will show up in the right spots, and then you're ready to go. And I'm going to delete that because it's not real. Here are some other considerations. First of all, and I think I told you this the other day, but just to be clear, Excel and Sheets and other databases and spreadsheets haven't learned how to deal with units. They should. It's not that hard, but they don't know how to deal with it. So if you type 1.52, it knows it's a number, and it can do all sorts of number things. It can add and multiply and find averages. If you say 1.2 cm, or 1.2 with a little quote to indicate inches, then it instantly has no idea what that could possibly be. And if you ask it to find an average, it's just going to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. It doesn't recognize it as a number. We want to do numerical calculations with data, so you just put the number in. And if you put your measurements in centimeters, then we'll be using a common language. And I put that in the heading. It says radical length in centimeter, radical length in centimeter. That's already there, but if you measured in millimeters the other day, that's fine, or inches, that's fine. We're not actually going to combine data. We're putting it all in one spreadsheet so that all the people in your group can access your data easily. And more importantly, we're putting in one spreadsheet so that if somebody doesn't get any good data at all, like if they had dried out paper towels and their mung beans didn't germinate on Monday, and then they tried again and today they look and it's just like rotted mush, then they can use somebody else's data. So we're just gonna share information, which is why we're putting it all into one spreadsheet. Let's see, and then if you have time to go back and look at your data from Monday, if there's anything in here that doesn't look right, like there were a couple people on Monday that put units in. So like this. So this group here, I think this is in our group, DSDWTG, I don't know who that is, but so you got millimeters here. You can just delete that. Just like double click, get rid of it. Get rid of it. And if you do this, you see how it all of a sudden jumps over to the right? It's turning it from something that isn't a number into a number. So that you could do that. The point of collecting data both today and on Monday is so that you have at least one good data set to work with. If you got good data on Monday, I want you to still collect today. It might be better, but ultimately you're only going to use one of these, whichever one is better. So if your data from Monday wasn't that good and your data from today is, then you don't have to go back and fix the stuff from Monday. So you only have to do that if you think you're going to need it. Then it'll be worth your time. Okay, once you've got your data entered, copied into the final spreadsheet, and any corrections that you need to make for Monday made, then the next step is to get stuff cleaned up, and we're done with the mung bean stuff. So at this point, everything should be clean. There shouldn't be any oil, sugar, there shouldn't be any food coloring, the counters should be clean, the equipment should be clean, and everything should be dried and on the cart. And I'll help with that so we can all work together to get stuff cleaned up. And then I anticipate that some of you are going to finish more quickly than others. And so if you are done, you've got everything cleaned up, and your data's all entered, then you can move on to just discussing in small groups what we'll be hitting in more detail on Friday during class, which is these general experimental vocabulary words. And some of you had a chance to look at these when we were doing the mung bean setup last week, when we were just thinking about what to do, but most of you didn't have much time. These are terms that you're going to need to be not just know and be able to like define, but you're going to need to know what they mean. So if we say something, if I'm talking to you and I'm like, well, my positive control, blah, 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 and I had 3 experimental treatments, and my null hypothesis was da 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 da. You're going to have to be able to understand me. It's not going to be enough for you to like look up those words and be like, okay, null hypothesis is this. Okay, now I can kind of figure out what it meant. We have to have a common vocabulary. So if you have time, you can chat about this stuff. If you don't have time, you don't have to panic, because we will go through that in class together on Friday. All right, so that is all the mung bean stuff that's fit to print. So before you get started, does anybody have any questions about what you're going to do and how you're going to do it? Okay. So I think it'll probably take about like maybe half an hour to 45 minutes. So we'll see how long it takes, but it shouldn't take more than half the class. So let me know if you have any questions, and let's see what you get.